of a white Christmas, just like the ones I used to know.
Closing In is the short film that I would like to make about a young woman who, through a series of events, loses her home. The story takes place in Bournemouth, a town more usually associated with holidays and tourism, but with an increasing amount of people sleeping rough. In order to fill you in a little more on the topic, I've made a documentary, Beyond the Postcard, Homelessness in Bournemouth.
We provide accommodation options for people in crisis, so that will be the shorter term kind of options normally, and that can be anything from short stay supported housing projects for people who've been homeless or rough sleeping, or refuges for people who are fleeing domestic violence, domestic abuse, and other services for young people in particular who, for whatever reason, have had to leave their family home in a crisis. Longer term, we then provide longer term supported housing projects, as well as right through to general needs independent accommodation. And the other service that we provide and have been providing for many years is what's called a floating support service, so where people are already housed but may be in danger of losing their accommodation or having some kind of problem. We can send staff in to meet with them on a weekly or bi-weekly basis to offer some support around those particular issues so that they keep their accommodation in place. Traditionally, the majority of people who end up rough sleeping across the country, and that's reflected in Bournemouth as well, are male and usually middle-aged, kind of anything between 35 and 55 years old. That's predominantly been the majority of people who find themselves in that situation, and that continues to be the case. There is a steady increase of single women who are finding themselves rough sleeping or homeless, and there is no direct evidence yet to show that there's a big influx of people from more middle class kind of backgrounds who are maybe being repossessed or that kind of thing. However, we do know that we have had experience of that in the last couple of years, where people have had their home repossessed and ended up rough sleeping with nowhere else to go. But that is still a minority group. The general socioeconomic group are people who have few social networks, have had a relationship breakdown, have drug or alcohol issues, mental health issues as well are often involved in that. Physical health issues are key, especially if people have been rough sleeping. So there's a whole complex background usually to the people that come through our doors and need our help. It's massive, I think, and I think it's often undervalued and underrated. We focus understandably on all the practical measures and practical things that need to be put in place to help somebody either avoid homelessness or get a home, but it is often those other things, like not being lonely, that are huge and can make the difference between somebody in exactly the same circumstances as the girl in your film become homeless or not become homeless. You could have another person who loses their job in a museum or wherever and has friends and family around, so is supported through that process, and their outcome is going to be a lot better. So it's an obvious thing to kind of flag up, but it's often ignored, and I think that network and that ability to form relationships and keep links is hugely fundamental to helping people either avoid homelessness in the first place or become linked in and get back into society.
I very much hope that my short film will highlight an issue that for too long has been invisible. If you would like to make a donation or would simply like some more information on the project, please contact me. Thank you.